Selecting an appropriate development method. Solution. In a software context is an ambiguous statement. The solution or program could be an answer to something medical like protein folding, or it could be something large scale, but it's a solution to youth entertainment like GTA 5, a large scale project with multiple years to develop, a huge budget, and many developers. Single solution such as GTA, which large-scale multi-developer, multi-year time frame mean we're looking at the characteristic of a structured development. A structured development usually include large amount of people. Each piece of developing team have their own individual role, and therefore each smaller piece of the developing team will have their own goals and tasks, and the approach at their assigned roles vary.
The intricacy of a solution will mean a variety of approaches to the solution. Solutions with a one-dimensional purpose will usually require only one style of approach. Google Chrome has many uses and is a very intricate piece of software. It mainly browses the Google search engine for the common folk, but has also little plugins for personalization. It has a developer console for those coding in HTML, error-checking implementation into Google Chrome to help websites run smoothly. It has the account system within Google Chrome, and even if you search with Bing for some reason, your account is still linked. Each component of Google Chrome was developed with different approaches. The user interface was developed with an Agile approach. Google ran the program with test users, and they were able to change the UI on the go to suit the user's needs. The accounting component was a huge, complicated system which needed proper planning and proper execution for the multi-billion users using this system. There was no room for failure. They had prototyped each revision of some new products such as docs or slides, and this allowed for a bug-free release on the final day.
The smaller the solution in a team, in terms of development size, the simpler the approach. Small indie game on a small budget, the smaller competition for game have a quick and low budget, short development time. This suits the right approach, rapid application development. Small scientific program which need to read some scientific tooling. For example, brainwave scanner needs to be displayed as a graph. A solution is created to take in data from the tool and display it as a graph. It doesn't need any special UIs or usability.
A structured approach to developing a software application involves the use of program development cycle, defining the problem, planning the solution, building the solution, checking the solution, and modifying the solution. A structured approach is used when there is high budget, where there is long time period to complete the project, and is where it is preferable for the project to be completed by teams. It is categorized by distinct stages, with each stage being completed before moving on to the next stage. The problem with a structured approach include long time periods. The time involved in a structured approach is generally measured in months or even years. Structured approaches are also large-scale projects, which are usually applied to large projects which involve a huge amount of detail and coordination between various parts of the business and the systems. Another problem with structured approach is the large budget. Large projects will involve a large number of people and will employ them over a long time scale. The budget consequently will be large. New hardware and software are often required for completion of the project, evaluating the cost of the project, though the amount spent upon personnel is usually the highest cost factor. An agile approach can place emphasis on the team developing the system rather than following predefined structured development process. An agile approach can remove the need for detailed requirements and complex design documentation. It can also encourage cooperation and teamwork, as well as being suited to web-based software development and other software applications that are modified regularly. Agile approaches do not fail more than other approaches. They succeed at the same level as other iterative methodologies. However, agile approaches face a set of challenges and problems related to applying a different approach to project management. The top three reasons for agile project failure are the inadequate experience with agile methods, little understanding of the required broader organizational change, and company philosophy of culture at odds with agile values.
When beginning a project, it's important to choose the right approach depending on the nature of the project. Just note that when we are starting a project, we are not restricted just to one approach. We can incorporate elements from multiple approaches and use those advantages, and generally we get a better product or final product in the end. The structured approach is best chosen when a team has a lot of time and money to spare. This is great because it allows us much more time for development and planning. And generally we notice games which often take the structured approach have a much greater final product. It's a common theme that we see amongst most games. An agile approach is best chosen when a project has no specifications. Clients at times can decide to add or remove features that they have asked for, so we take on the agile approach due to its flexibility. A rapid application approach is best chosen when presented with a project that needs to be completed quickly. To do this, we would use software development applications such as Visual Studio that has a database of code that is remembered within the software itself, and when it's programmed in a way that makes development all the more easier. The prototyping approach is best used for when there is a high emphasis on a project that requires an interaction between users and the application. This approach allows the production of multiple models that can allow the creation of the most ideal final product. End user development is often prototyping. The prototyping approach is best used for when there is a high emphasis on the project that requires an interaction between. End user development is often seen with projects that require the manipulation of a project but by users who generally have no experience in coding. We commonly see this approach with school assignments that have been accomplished through applications such as Microsoft Word or spreadsheets. Each approach has its own set of characteristics, otherwise known as advantages to begin with. The structured approach, as previously mentioned, are completed in long time periods that have distinct formal stages, large budgets, and are generally associated with large-scale projects. Another feature that should be noticed in a structural approach is also that they are completed in teams, and generally in teams, each team member has a specific role. Fortnite, which is a major game of this generation, was announced in 2011, and in between the time periods of 2011 and 2014, it had gone through the building stage, and then during the year of 2014, the game was actually playable in a beta stage, which the developers were able to identify any problems and errors that occurred, which they could then modify the solution, and it ongoingly is being developed. Fortnite to this day has no final product. It is still being developed, and that is because Epic Games has included multiple approaches to building this game, which we will get onto later in this presentation. The Agile approach, as mentioned, specializes in speed, flexibility, and we require a lot of communication between users, developers, and clients. Fortnite is a game that has been able to incorporate this approach in the constant development of this game, the regular updates that incorporate new features. The rapid application approach are used for projects that have short deadlines, low budgets, or when a CASE tool is being used. CASE stands for Computer-Aided Software Engineering Tool. Projects that have been made through the use of tools such as Visual Studio and other software applications take a similar approach to this. The prototyping approach is often used when a project contains many features, and all the features need to be properly tested through smaller scales that can be implemented in the final approach. The creation of models is what helps to properly develop a project, helping to ensure that it meets its final project. Fortnite, which has also incorporated the prototyping approach, creates models and characters before implementing them into the final game. Fortnite has also released an early access version, or otherwise known as a beta version, that would have allowed testing through the user interaction that will help perfect the final product. End-user development approaches are when the user develops and creates the project from given tools. We often see this approach being used when a developer has no professional experience in software design, or other software designers create programs to help the less experienced create projects in ways they see fit. A practical real-life application of when we would see this happen would be with school projects, as I mentioned earlier. So apps such as Microsoft Word, spreadsheets, and possibly Visual Studios would see these most likely being used in schools, as many school students do not have experience in software design and development. Thank you.